Hey everybody, it's TotalGamerJunkie and I welcome you all back to my channel. So in this video, I've been getting a bunch of comments on my video about how the Clementine survivor bite, about my theories, and I've gotten a bunch of comments here. Got like 30 comments since I uploaded it and that, and I wanted to go through them all and see what you all think, and about my opinion to it. Okay, someone put, this person's name is, I think I'm saying this right, Uwais Nor Mosa put, and I think Clem's boot might have suppressed the bite. I mean, it is like possible. I mean, like looking back, like I've got an image up and just looking at it. You can see like how she's got the bites on her leg, but maybe the bite is just in the flesh. Maybe it might not have gone. Maybe the teeth might not have gone fully into her leg and into the bloodstream and that. I mean, so that is possible. Another person put, I'm blue, what about it is, I guess the walker bite is different with everyone, but to be honest, when Clementine was grey and looked sick, I feel like Telltale just made her look like that to think she was gonna die so the plot twist at the end could work. Yeah, that's definitely what they did, alright, 100%. They made us think she's gonna die, and then she didn't, because I assume she's not gonna die in any of the endings at all. I still gotta do my save file 3 and 4. So, yeah, when that's all done, I'm gonna be just, what do you call it? Well, after this video, I'm actually making another one about, because some of you people have been asking me how to get the Wellington scar for Clementine. I'm gonna be making a video about that, and it'll be up after this one. Okay. Ulwias nor Moza again put, if they do gaming sins, this will be counted. No, I love this. He or she also put again, thank you very much for making this, keep it up and you will be successful. I subscribe to you because of this video. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for subscribing, Uwais nor Moza. I appreciate the support, I really do. Okay, so we got another one here by Noah Perez. Good theory, but there is a full explanation of how AJ saved her on Kent Muddle's Tumblr, so this theory is wrong. Now I replied back to you, and I like told you, if you're listening, or him if he's not, if this is just looking at it and not really subscribed or anything. These are just theory videos. I do believe the second opinion makes sense to me, but like it's just a theory still. But the second theory I put up about her having a high immune system, I believe that 100%. But like that's just my opinion. This I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's what I believe. Okay, and we got one from Uwais Normoza again. I was also thinking about the immune system, and then Uwais put again, the third theory is not true. Maybe the children conveniently found them because Clem may have screamed and the children does something, you know, they should make an explanation, they should. He also Uwais puts again, notice how no blood is spilling from Clem's leg after getting bitten. Maybe she just picked up an infection, and when Lee got bitten, you know, that game where the blood spills out a little. And then Uwais put yet again, note there is also no blood in the walker's mouth. It would normally be red, right, but notice it was only black. Yeah, because there's actually a theory like I've come up with, but I'll tell you about Lee, but I'll tell you about it later in the video. Let's just keep going. Bread Monster puts, they made it this way so we use our imagination, because everything they tried to think about didn't make sense at the end. Because if a single detail doesn't make sense, then it's not realistic. I tried to think about biological theories, but hey, they really should have changed the ending of course. Or it says of course, but I know what you mean, of course. Then it would be bad and people would dislike half of the seasons from the whole series. Maybe she shouldn't have been bitten, or maybe they could cut it off right away. I only have one theory that kind of makes sense. Zombies use sound a lot, right? So their cells must use sound or something to communicate. Zombies can't use sound to communicate because they are just cells eating the human body. Every organism is trying to multiply no matter what it takes. So the cells try to stay together and listen very closely to how many human cells there are. Excuse me. I know cells can't hear, but this theory that I made makes the most sense out of other theories that I've thought of. by listening through the blood because sound travels fast if the sorry, something in my throat. Because sound travels faster if the material is denser than air, and if they hear a lot of sound, then they evacuate from the human body through the lungs. That's also why people got infected, because the virus was in the air. If the cells manage to invade the body, they take control of the brain, and those zombie cells that are controlling the brain listen with human ears to hear nearby humans, and those zombie cells may be small creatures, not cells, so they can communicate by hearing and think better. So with this theory, in which I type that the zombie cells try to stay together and nearby each other in blood vessels, you can confirm that the good ending theory, in which her leg gets cut off and the zombie cells that together and are in her blood go out before he puts the hot knife on her wound. But anyways, realistic ending is an ending where Clementine dies, and most people, including me, want to believe in the less realistic but good ending. Yes, that's actually Bread Monster. That's actually a pretty interesting theory actually there, because like it kind of like it's a bit confusing for me. I have to read over it again. I have to read it over a second time later, but I do get the gist of it, and that's very interesting. I really think like you should actually like comment like on the Telltale or Skybound feed about this. You should ask them, because I'm pretty sure they're having like a comment section or something later today or tomorrow, something like that, where you can ask the developers about the game. Yeah, but anyways, you know, that's pretty good, but yeah, everyone wants the less realistic but good ending. Yeah. I know I did, but like, I wanted a realistic good ending. Like, I don't know, the ending just kind of, nah. You know, well, I'm not saying it was bad. I mean, it was a I love that playing episode 4, but really, it's just like that ending. It kind of, if they would have cut Clementine's leg off early, I wouldn't have argued. Like, if it was still dark and they made it to the barn, then that would make more sense. But you see, she gets bit when it's night and then it's daytime, so you can tell a few hours have passed. If it was still night, then we wouldn't be able to determine what time it is. It could have been like half an hour to an hour she'd been bit. So yeah, so then that would be a perfect explanation. Ah, you know, it was still dark and we can't determine the amount of time it was from when she got bit to when she got to the barn. So yeah, there is that possibility AJ cutting off a leg saved her life. Okay, now, what's this person's name? Kipmaster Sky put, my first theory was that the bite just wasn't deep enough and she was pale because she lost a lot of blood, and someone helped them escape from the barn, but that makes no sense when you look at the details. Minnie's axe was covered in Walker blood when she sliced her leg. It was also covered in Walker blood when AJ amputated her leg. Because of that, Clem should turn even faster after her leg was amputated with that axe. In my opinion, it's either that Clem has a strong immune system and that she's strong enough for the virus to not kill her, or that Tem was right about the Walker age and that the virus is slowly fading away, and now the virus is weak enough for some people to survive a bite. I hear that in the Walking Dead movie trilogy that's supposed to come out, there will be a sci-fi element to it. It will be the last time we will be seeing main character Rick Grimes, so I'm guessing that when it comes out, we will know the answer. This is actually something that I personally believe, like, because I've read the comics, right? And there's something interesting that I've noticed. I've never seen like I've seen people become walkers in that, but I've never actually seen new people become walkers. Like because I haven't read too much into the comics, but a theory that I believe is that everyone now who was in the apocalypse, like when they die they become walkers, but people like AJ who are born into it, I believe that they will die as people. They will never come back as walkers. At least that's what I believe. Because if you remember that Resident Evil movie, the final chapter, with I forget her name, Millie something. I forget her name, but yeah, they explained that Trinity or no Trinity Umbrella Corporation released the virus because there were too many people in the world, and then disease and famine was going to happen. The world would become too overpopulated. That's why the virus was created. And so yeah, personally, that could be the case here. Maybe the world was too overwhelmed with people, and the government or someone decided that they needed to do this, but they put in a safeguard where people who are born into the apocalypse won't have the walker virus, and so they will never become walkers when they die. I suppose you could say they could become walkers if they die from a bite, but when they die like of natural causes, or if they're shot in the heart and that, if their brain's intact and they die not from a walker bite, then they won't come back as walkers. At least that's what I believe. And also with the Rick Grimes movie trilogy, I heard a rumor that Michonne's gonna be in it. I don't know how, but it's just a rumor, so I'm not saying it's true or anything. Okay, and someone put here, Noah Perez, that's his name, he put, here is the confirmation explanation by a developer of how AJ saved Clem. AJ cut her leg off and Clem passed out. He then cauterized her wound with the flint and steel and the hay in the barn. Then he used a wheelbarrow to stab all the walkers in the head through the barn doors. Then he covered Clem in walker guts and put her in the wheelbarrow and got her back to the school safe and sound. That's how Clem survived, and that's why this theory is now dead. Yeah, it explains how she survived. He cut off... Yeah, well, it really doesn't explain, like... I guess it does explain how, like, she didn't die from blood loss and that, but doesn't... And how she got out of the barn. But it doesn't really explain how she survived the walker bite. You know, and that's what I replied to him in this, and like, I put how he saved her, but not how she was able to survive the walker bite. And then he actually replied to me, Noah Perez did, and he said, "Here, let me explain that. So Clem's bite was at the lowest part of her body that it positively could have been literally her foot, and also her leg was cut open, so that spilt blood, which probably slowed down the virus. Also, the walker that bit her didn't draw blood; it just left a mark. So a summary is that her cut from Minnie plus when she was bit equals Clem living, and when people say she was already turning, it was supposed to make us think that she just lost a lot of blood and was stressed to the max. That's why she looked pale. So yeah, I'm so happy Clem lived and had a peaceful ending, and that I'm not going to theorize. I'm just glad she survived, and that's that." Which is actually interesting. This brings up about Lee, if you think about it, because Lee cut off his arm after he passed out. You know, if you choose to cut off his arm. Now, let's just say, let's go over this. Okay, his arm, if you notice throughout the game, it's dripping blood, right? So basically, if it's dripping blood and all that, and he's gone all his way to rescue Clem, you notice that he's got the same pale face as Clementine. So if Clementine didn't get bit, like when he got bit, it drew blood, obviously, but yeah, if you look back at her bite mark, there wasn't any blood from the bite drawn, so maybe the bite bit a bit of her skin and left a mark, but it didn't bite deep enough into her flesh to go to the bloodstream. Now, this is actually, it's pretty dark if you think about it, because if you cut off Lee's arm, then, and he indeed did die from blood loss, then you had Clementine basically murder him. If you think about it, if you choose to shoot him, it's like you're not sparing him from becoming a walker. You're murdering him because he's dying from blood loss. And that's actually, I personally do believe that if Lee cuts off his arm, he survives the walker bite, but he dies from blood loss. At least that's what I think. Let me know what you people think in the comments below of this video. Alright, so moving on. We got one from Uwas again. Yep, I believe you. I don't know. Wait, is it Uwas? Yeah, it's Uwayas or something like that, but I'm going to say Uwas. Yeah, thank you for believing me. Then I got one from James Ura. Thanks for the shout out and reading my comment. I loved how the writers ended Clem's story in a way that whether you believe she's dead or alive, there's just as much evidence from both outcomes. Yeah, but, you know, and I told him, you know, there's always fan fiction, because you can tell people, like, they're going to write fan fiction, they're going to keep making games and that. You people know how it is, so, yeah. I got one from him again, and he goes, he wanted me to read his theory. Please read my theory and comment if you are right. So this is for you, Elias. I'm reading it for you. What do you call it? Alright, if you think I am right. Yep, so he wants me to theory and comment if you think I am right, but I'm going to read them anyway, regardless of what I believe. So you see, Clem got chopped by that axe, causing the skin to be open, and she is bleeding right, and then she gets bit. But see where she got bit? Somewhere on a piece of flesh that is not even connected on the bone. It is just a piece of flesh, and this Walker virus is only transmitted through Walker teeth. So if this virus works in the blood, then that means the teeth did not sink into the blood, which makes... Sorry, got a yawn. I'm not at your fear, it's just I woke up late and still a bit tired, still waking up. So I wasn't yawning, like saying your theory was boring, Uwais. I apologize if that came out rude. If this virus works in the blood, that means that the teeth did not sink into the blood, which makes it that Clem is not infected at all. It is because of the blood loss or its game logic. Telltale just really wanted to make deja vu and make everybody worried, you know? So please tell me in the comments, please, and know about that Haim logic. How the hell did Minnie survive those bites without, like, falling to the walkers? You see, it's just game logic. Well, the reason, cause Minnie, for me, the way Minnie survived was because, she was on a mission. She was determined. It's like with Lee, when he was going after Clementine, he wanted her to get her safe, and he was gonna do everything he could to get her back, and he didn't stop no matter how sick he was getting. He just kept on moving and moving. So I guess you could say the same. It goes for well, because since it's night, we don't have an exact time scale of when Minnie meets Clem, Violet / Lewis, Ten, and AJ on the bridge. But I reckon that it'd have to be, from the look of her face, it'd have to be they met up at least an hour later, because you could an hour, maybe 2 hours later, because her skin is very, very pale. Yeah, pardon me. Her skin is pale. You can tell she's beginning to turn. So yeah, and plus the fact that she's insane, because crazy people, they can survive crazy shit. That's just the logic of horror for some reason. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I do like your theory, Uwais or Uwas, whatever it is. Yeah. So that does make sense, because we see her get bit on the flesh, and that flesh is cut, and it's not connected to the bone and that. So I guess you could say that's dead flesh. So really, the Walker bite or the virus in the teeth, it wouldn't have really gone to the living tissue, just the flesh. And you could say that she did lose a lot of blood, like with what my theory was about Lee. That's why he looks so pale. That could be another reason. She lost a lot of blood, and that's why she looked so pale. Now, the nerd put, the whole situation feels so unbelievable to me. I mean, I love Clementine, and I am glad she survived, but from a realistic point of view, her survival chance would have been very low, and even if AJ were to cut off her leg, she shouldn't be able to walk properly and would have lost a lot of blood. I really wish they added a extra scene showing how Clementine survived through that, because from a realistic point of view, survival really should have been very low for Clementine, and as much as I love her, I don't think it would make sense for her to live through that. I would imagine unless the group somehow found them and came to rescue them, they wouldn't be able to live through that. I mean, I could be wrong, but don't take my words to heart. I'm just giving my personal intake on the situation. Now, yeah, from what that other person commented to me about the developer, how AJ cauterized the wound and used the wheelbarrow, climbed up, killed all the walkers, and then put Clementine in the wheelbarrow and wheeled her out. Yeah, that's like, since the developer said that, that's what happens. I hope you got your answer there, the nerd, and I hope you're happy. Alright, now the last comment is from Dark Wolf, what, 915 I think it is? Yeah, Dark Wolf 915. I don't have my glasses with me, sorry. So I'm thinking that Lee died because he had a major infection from having his arm sawed off with a rusty saw. I think the virus had been on top of the blood loss, and disease on top was too much, and he was just dying from that. But I have two theories for Clementine. One is maybe she doesn't have the virus, and that bite was an infection point. She might have been turning, but since it wasn't in the brain already, maybe the virus couldn't fully work its way through to her, and as I read in the comments, maybe her immune system fought off the rest. After all, it is a virus, it's possible, and my other theory is that the bite was a huge wound, like huge blood loss was unavoidable. The virus has to work its way up through the blood, so maybe it couldn't properly make its way through her system correctly. Cutting a leg off simply stopped it from spreading, but it's just a guess. Well, that second theory right there, yeah, that does make sense. It goes up through the blood, so you do have to cut it off. And so yeah, that theory also works as well. That's a believable one too, but really, like, I guess, like, the main reason she survived was fan service, but, like, where's the fun in saying it's fan service? That's what I love about theories. We can do our own ideas of how she survived, and I'm not saying I'm saying, like, the second theory where she had a high immune system. That's what I personally believe, but that doesn't make it canon. It's what everyone else believes, because I believe not everybody who gets bit by a walker would turns at the same time. Like, you look at Duck and Pete from season 1 and season 2, they both got bit and they both turned at entirely different times. Like, Pete in the truck, when it's at night, he's sick, he couldn't really walk on his foot. Duck, he got sick, and it was like a day after, and when you reach the train, he's walking with Katra and he's holding her hand. And it's not like he needs to lean on her for support. He's holding her hand and walking normally. So yeah, for me, I do believe that the bites affect different people individually, and some turn faster and slower than others. Now, someone replied to Dark Wolf, putting, because he had his arm sawed off by a rusty saw, her leg was chopped off with an axe that was covered in zombie guts. And Dark Wolf replied to the person who commented that was Melinda Talley. I know, and I thought that's what did her in until she was bitten. But it doesn't seem the virus works that way, because wouldn't any scratch or wound of any kind be a potentially deadly? I mean, couldn't you do a knife or bullet inside of a carcass and just scratch someone and boom, they are dead? I mean, they cover themselves in zombie guts to move around sometimes. I'm 100% certain they can't clean the clothes with Clorvo or at all even. So it's not maybe you'll get a cut. It's when you get a cut, scrape your knee or get it under your fingernails. It's around your mouth, nose, and eyes, all potential ways for a virus to enter the body, which is how they worked IRL. So I get what you are listening. Is IRL meant to be LOL? I'm not sure. So I get what you're saying. The axe was literally, well, we gotta read more, chopping at the bodies not too long ago. Infected, undead, but I don't think it works that way. Well, yeah, because as you know, remember, Minerva spits on Clementine and spits blood in their face? Did, maybe a bit of blood go in the mouth or maybe on her eyes? Because it's not like, if you remember, the movie, 24 hours later, 24 weeks later, the guy's wife, she got infected and she was like a half zombie and that, and he kissed her on the lips, and then he began to turn. And it's just like, what's it called? And it's just like, it's definitely not like that, and it's also not like The Last of Us, where you get a big scratch, and, that kid, Sam, from Last of Us, remember, he got a big scratch by a clicker, I believe it was, on his ankle, and he was turning. I believe it was a scratch and not a bite, because looking back, when I played the game and when I looked at it, I saved Henry first, and then I tried to save Sam. So when I was like, oh shit, did I do something wrong? And I reloaded my previous save, and I went to save Sam, and yeah, he still got infected, but I didn't see him get bit. So I think it was a scratch, unless he got bit sometime in the lighthouse. That's the only thing that really makes sense. So yeah, these are all the theories here. I really hope you all enjoyed it, and my next video that's going to be uploaded is how to get the Wellington Scar. Shout out to John Senpai who told me how to do it, and thank you again. Alright, this is TotalGamerJunkie signing off.